everyone knows that you need to target your own products on Amazon. That way you protect the ad spot on your product details pages from competitors targeting it. But that way you're wasting your money, to be honest, plus leaving a ton of money on the table.
Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Working in E-commerce. I am your host, Egan Heath from Asymmetric Marketing. You can check out what we do at asymmetric.pro. Today I'm speaking with a true professional on Amazon. He and his team help D2C companies double their revenue through Amazon. I'm absolutely pumped to learn from, tell me if I get the first name right, Hristo. Welcome, Hristo.
Thank you again. Thank you. Hey guys. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to share my knowledge and see where we go with this.
Right on. We're happy to have you on. And your agency's Hyperzon, as in
Absolutely.
Amazon, but Hyper, Z-O-N at the end. And you guys have had some incredible case studies, driven some incredible results. So I'm really pumped to learn from you. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what do you see working right now? Kind of what are some strategies or tactics that seem to be moving the needle for your clients?
Yeah, it's a good question. The e-commerce space is constantly changing, not only the Amazon space, but Amazon space is also changing and people don't realize that. And we need to adapt. You need to be using all the tools that Amazon allows you to use because Amazon has been stagnant for, I'd say, 20 years or more. And now finally, for the past couple of years, they're releasing new tools and new things that you can use, which is exciting because whenever we know that something is coming up and whoever is the pioneer and the first people to use it, they always get the best results. So we always wait for stuff like that. And honestly, as CPC is getting more and more expensive, a lot of brands look at the total ROAS of the Amazon account or the LTV value of the customer, which I think it's very important. It should always be like that. Maybe here I should point out that I'm very happy with our churn rate. It's almost non-existent as an agency. We drop 2 clients a year. And we have clients that have been with us for 5 years now. So we really strive to help them out as much as we can. And we really care. I think this is really important. And I think all the agencies out there should care because for many, it's just a numbers game and they drop clients after 3 or 4 months. This is not how we do business. And it's so bad that I'm even considering changing from calling our sales agency to something else because people have such a bad experience with agencies that it's just, it's crazy. You got to do it right, like any other business.
That's good. Yeah, my business partner, Mark, is in agreement with you. He says, drop that phrase. People have an association of what is an agency. And really, we just want to be people that help them solve their business problem, help their grow their sales, grow their revenue. Agree. So that's excellent. It sounds like PPC costs going up in many cases on Amazon. How do you combat that? What do you do when that's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. This is what I was going. So basically, you can enroll your products in Subscribe and Save with 10% seller funded discount and create a can't miss Subscribe and Save coupon for the first order, something in the range of 20-30%. And this will make the product much more appealing for the client to just test it out. And if they really like it, they will stay subscribed. And the cool thing is like you give them a discount just for the first month and then they are on the full subscription amount. And this was not possible up until 3 or 4 months ago. So it's pretty cool. And right now we have accounts with more than 10,000 subscribers. And this strategy works extremely well for products that you need to purchase every 2-3 months. I could mention even some of them. We have VFresh and Red Drop. These are both like feminine brands. This works very well because one is for pads and the other is for feminine nutrition that women need to constantly intake. So strategies like that work. Honestly, it works for 70% of the e-com brands, to be honest. Only if you're selling something that people buy once in a lifetime, maybe it's not going to work out.
Makes sense. Focus on that customer lifetime value. And I think you mentioned there's some new ad placements as well, kind of see where else we can show the ads, maybe not just the classic, the search pay-per-click SEM type play. Is that how you think about it?
You can always play with DSP. I wouldn't recommend it for any type of business. DSP is a bit tricky. You need to be generating enough volume, first of all. The absolute minimum is you need to be doing like 100K a month, but I'd say even a few hundred, so that you can make the best of DSP, because this gives you some extra placement on and off Amazon. And it's a pay-per-view strategy. You're probably familiar with it, but not many people use the display network because, again, it's a little bit tricky. It doesn't work for just any brand. But still, if you want to differentiate, definitely give it a try.
Gotcha. Can I ask a question on the subscribe and save thing too? As I think about it, I could see the psychology where you're thinking, if we're getting them to subscribe, then they're signing up for a recurring thing, and maybe the conversion rate would be lower. Do you see that, or is that not the case?
No, I don't think that's the case, for sure. We've been having only positive results with all the brands that make sense to get subscribe and save. It's been going really well.
Love it. That's a great one. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah. And I think you have some others too you want to talk through, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows that you need to target your own products on Amazon. That way you protect the ad spot on your product details pages from competitors targeting it. But that way you're wasting your money, to be honest, plus leaving a ton of money on the table. Why am I saying that? You need to rather create a bundle which includes 2 single complementary products from your portfolio and target ad spots with this new ASIN. The benefit from that is that you protect the ad spot, and plus you make upsells and increase your AOV on that product. People don't think about that, and they're like, oh, it's very difficult for me to increase my AOV on Amazon. It's pretty much impossible, but that's not the case. You just need to promote multiple items. You can create virtual bundles as well. Rather than pushing ads toward a single product, just push ads towards a bundle.
Love
that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me make sure I have that right. So one is on the branded search piece, you recommend do not bid on your brand unless there's a strong reason to. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Because just want to add something. We had a case, if you're a strong brand, especially, we had a case last year where the bids for one of our clients was so high that it didn't really make sense to bid on it. It was something like $250 per click to bid on our own brand. And what we did is we just skipped that. We let all the others fight for these branded keywords. And then we were just promoting under their listings. Inside the listings, you have a placement where you can promote your product within. And if somebody wants to buy a cheap knockoff, they can always do it. And they're always going to end up buying the cheap knockoff. But if they want the high quality product and the original, which was the case, they will end up buying our product. And this way, we ended up depleting their budgets, and it was much more profitable for us doing it this way.
Pretty interesting. And then if I'm understanding that other piece, it's run multiple products or run bundles, so you're showing up multiple times on the Amazon result page, even if it's maybe one of your head keywords or it's something for one of your main products, you may have related products showing up there too, just so you're owning that space. Do I understand that right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Love that. Anything else that you're seeing working that you try to do in your accounts with clients?
Yeah, absolutely. There's kind of out of the box strategy here. Many brands create closed Facebook groups with existing buyers, and inside these groups, they share promo codes for their products either on the website or Amazon, and encourage the people in the group to share their experience. After some time, it becomes a community, especially for cosmetic brands, and you can ask them anything. Like, trust me, you can ask them whatever you want. Like, this works extremely well. And why I'm sharing it this way is because, like sellers on Amazon, they really look for the shortcut, but I wouldn't say there's like a shortcut. What I mean is they ask people to immediately buy the product. They haven't built rapport with them and haven't built such a community for what I'm explaining. Because once you build that community that really trusts you and really believes in the brand, it's much easier for you to ask them anything whenever you're launching a new product, or if you need general help with anything on Amazon to boost your sales, whatever, you can ask that community. Is it according to Amazon terms of services? Okay, maybe we're in the gray area, but you have a trusted community. You can ask for anything. I would always go for that.
Very cool. I love that.
And people underestimate the power of the tribe and the actual community. They just look at it as, no, I'm going to make that quick sequence here and people are going to end up buying my product. Most times it doesn't work like that. It takes a little bit more time, but at the end, the conversion rate is much higher.
Yeah, it makes sense to build the trust, get to know your customers, understand what their concerns are and what's important to them. That's a great one. I love it. I know you've got a case study or some stats you wanted to pull up on an example. Do you want to share screen and kind of talk us through that?
Yeah,
thanks for pulling that up, and maybe just describe it for people who are listening on audio too.
Absolutely. So basically, we have these mini case studies here just to showcase a few success stories we have from some of our clients. To be honest, this is an older presentation. It's about 3-4 months old. Why am I saying that? Because this first case study about the magic sands, we started with them when they were barely doing 25K on Amazon. And here in the case study, it says 135, but right now we are standing at 280K for that brand.
Love it. And you're saying per month, is that right?
Per month, yeah.
Wow, and, excellent. Okay, very cool.
Everything that I'm going to share basically adds up to that success. But let me tell you a little bit more about them. They're basically a fragrance trailblazer specializing in HVAC systems, creating large and mini BT aroma diffusers for personal and commercial use. And they're, in general, a luxury brand. So the challenge with them was that despite boasting high and large diffusers in their lineup, sales were trailing. And this niche market is crowded with similar looking products from many Chinese competitors who offer them at much lower price points and better rating. So we sat down and came up with a solution. We needed to start from the ground up and solve all the product issues and avoid further negative reviews, actually. First, we analyzed the reviews for our products, and after that, all the competition. What people liked, this used the most, what mattered to them, etc. Based on the feedback we removed one of the options from the products that created issues, both on our product and on the competitor listing. So what that achieved is not adding something up, because in most cases, it makes sense to add something up on Amazon just to your product. But in this case, we removed something, and this was related with an application. In this case, this application was making so many glitches and bugs, and people were constantly complaining about it in the reviews. So what we did is we removed that. We were not giving it away with an app already, but this allowed us to lower the price of the product. So we lowered the price with $10. And you will be amazed, but the sales skyrocketed, and we were getting mostly positive reviews because this single feature was the feature that everybody was writing negative reviews about. And this helped us increase the sales a lot.
This is pretty fascinating. I want to call this out. There was a feature in the product. It was causing issues. It was causing negative reviews. And the solution was not, let's fix it. It was like, let's just get rid of that feature. It's not worth it. Is that right?
Yep, it was not worth it.
Pretty interesting. Great example.
We fully rebranded the aroma oils and the packaging and everything. We ensured the main images on Amazon stand out compared to the ASINs, because these days there are so many brands out there that you really need to stand out. You need to make everything possible to stand out and be a great brand and not just a mediocre one.
And is that
one other thing?
Is that design? Is that naming? Is that reviews? You know, when you think about that, how do you do those pieces of really improve the brand and kind of the perception of the brand?
You just need to start from the beginning. If your brand is not looking great to start with, or is not talking to the right audience, you'd rather start from the beginning. And looking great and talking to the right audience are two completely different things, because many times we've had the case where we create an amazing looking brand and we had an assumption that we had a specific target audience, let's say Gen Z. Then we push that product with the Gen Z look to the Gen Z audience, and further down the road, like a few months after, we realized that actually our audience is much older people, let's say 35, 50. And this actually brand identity doesn't correspond with what they expect. So we go back, we completely rebrand the products, push a new vision, and the results are skyrocket. You'll be amazed, because they don't see themselves buying the younger looking product. And sometimes, and I've seen it so many times, we start with the idea that this product is for 20, like for young people, whatever. And many times that's not the case. As long as it's making you money and it's working out and people like it, but they're not the audience that you expect, just go for it.
Yeah,
Make the needed changes.
this might be in the weeds on graphic design and branding, but you referencing we had a different demographic, maybe even a different age demographic, and that necessitated we had to rebrand. Like the look of the product and the brand had to change to match our new demographic. How did you know that it wasn't matching the old one?
Because the conversion rates were just not good, and also it's always worth asking your audience. If you're wondering, just ask them, give them a freebie or whatever, but ask them if they like the brand, what they don't like about it, etc. And people tell you, especially if you give them a freebie. So I suggest asking lots of questions. We also have this audience of 400,000 people. We build a little software there, but whenever we launch new images on Amazon, being for the A+ or main images or whatever, we ask the audience, would you buy that product compared to other products, and why? So they give us their feedback and we decide on what kind of visual to push or not push based on real data. If you have the chance, always be data driven, because you're gonna lose a lot of money down the road if you're
That's
not.
great. Yeah, we had somebody come on the show who does something like that. It's almost like brand user testing, showing images of the
Exactly.
products and the screens, and basically get that feedback, get that qualitative feedback. What do they think? What are they thinking when they look at that? And retool that way. Thanks for talking about that.
Absolutely. So getting back to the magic scent, so we changed a few other small things basically, and also added a free small bottle of aroma oil as a present, and it was still again cheaper because we removed the software. And here are the results. The results just skyrocketed. Over a few months, the sales went to 135K. And again, I'm saying 3 months after these shots here, they're sitting at 280K. So things are only going in the right direction.
Wow, that's amazing.
Because now they have more reviews, they released additional products, etc. So things are looking great.
Were they hitting the gas on ad spend as well, of spending more on PPC then to scale up like that?
Yeah, of course, but at better ROAS, to be honest, or like we call it on Amazon, ACOS. The ACOS was significantly better because at some point when you get a better main image, better price, and enough reviews, it's much easier to convert. And this helps the organic as well as the paid ads.
Love it. I think a lot of people watching this would love to see results like this. So thank you. This is awesome.
Okay, let me show you a few other cool things. I wanted to talk about this one because many people from the US are worried to start selling in Europe because they're like, it's far away, everything is different, etc., etc. Yeah, that might be the case, but for many brands, is worth it to push it. So we started with this brand. It was a pretty popular brand in the US, but they had zero exposure in Europe. So we started working with them from zero in Germany. And let me share with you what we did. So we intensified advertising for our products using brand keywords, ensuring the initial reviews came from brand familiar customers. Because one of the most difficult things on Amazon is getting reviews. So you need to make everything possible to get positive reviews, especially when you're getting started. And this increased the likelihood of positive feedback as these customers had prior experience with our products. So for products with existing US listings, we ensure that inheritance of reviews from the US marketplace, allowing us to start locally with over 1,000 reviews. This is very important. Many people, like many brands, don't know that. But now people in different geolocations, they can actually see the reviews from other spots around the world in Amazon. And this gives you an upper hand, especially if you're moving from the US to Europe, because European products have much less reviews on average. And once we amassed the initial reviews, we ramped up the advertising on competitor ASINs and non-branded keywords. So the results, we optimized and launched all 14 products across 3 primary EU marketplaces, tailoring each listing in 3 languages. And we then devised a robust strategy to guarantee sustained account growth. And in under 8 months, we boosted the revenue from 0 to 200K. And ideally to 300K at the end of the year. So that went pretty well from 0 I would say.
Yeah, that's excellent. A couple things to call out there. So one is when you need those reviews early on, go ahead and run branded PPC then to get those positive reviews of people that already know you and love you. And then it sounds like if you're moving into Europe, a couple things. One is make sure you can inherit those reviews so that the US reviews show up. And then also you did that localization piece of it was in the local language and so on, so that
Yeah.
people could see the descriptions they needed. Love it. This is awesome.
And of course, administration is different in Europe. So, but we've already walked the walk, as they say. So we can set everything up for clients coming from the US in less than 3 months in Europe. So they don't have to worry about that. This means accounting, logistics, optimizing the listings and the native languages here. So everything basically. If you start doing it from scratch, it's going to take you a year on average. It's different. You need to figure it out.
Yeah, we've had some guests on. I've talked about there's quite a few things to figure out with VAT or VAT and all kinds of regulations. So I don't know if this is talking out of school, but I believe we were talking beforehand. You're from Bulgaria, is that right? Do you think that experience helps you navigate that?
Yeah, for sure. Being in Europe definitely helps me because it's easier for me here. I have the connections. Even traveling, it's much easier within Europe. Everything is between 1.5 and 3 hours away. So if I want to meet with a supplier or whoever, it's just much easier to establish that relationship compared if you're coming from the US.
Oh, that's awesome. I see in here too, you mentioned the devised a robust strategy. Maybe just say a few words of what does a strategy entail, kind of what's included in a robust Amazon strategy.
Yeah, just in a nutshell, there's so many things that you have to get right on Amazon. Starting from the main image, you need to make sure you have an amazing main image. And again, how do you ensure that? By asking an audience of people. Whoever you can ask them. They're going to tell you if they like it, if they don't like it, whatever. If you cannot ask anyone at the end of the day, test it out and see what the conversion is. If you don't like, you can change the image at the end of the day and A/B test again. Another important thing is to have a great PPC strategy when you're getting started. You need to know what to push, what not to push, and just have an overall look of the account. I don't support fully automated PPC tools out there because they spend a lot of budget and people are not profitable in most of the cases. We have a semi-automated strategy where we use tools that are the state of the art, but we constantly make sure that the bids are not too high. This is very important. And at the end of the day, I want to talk about something very important here, and it's the TACOS, the so-called total advertising cost of sales, and not the advertising cost of sales, because sometimes it makes sense to run a campaign that is losing you money. It's not profitable because it helps your organic ranking and you make much more sales from the organic sales than the money that you're losing on the paid advertising. I don't know if that makes sense, but many people overlook that. So imagine you have 12 campaigns. 10 of them are profitable. Okay, perfect. But 2 of them are losing you money. And you're like, oh, I'm going to shut this down. Wait, you need to make sure that these are not very important keywords, which at the end of the day are bringing you enough sales. And if you take a look at the big picture, are bringing you a lot of organic sales because you're up there, you're number 1 or number 3 or number 5, whatever. And by pushing the PPC ads, this is pushing you in the organic results and you end up making much more money compared to if you're not boosting that campaign, even if you're losing money on the paid advertising. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. I'm just going to call that out a little bit. If people are doing D2C through their website, there's always this discussion with Google is SEO and PPC are supposedly, there's a Chinese wall and they're separate. And Google's not saying if you spend money with us, the organic results are going to get better. At least that's what they say. And that's been the feeling with D2C marketers. And so they're separate worlds. But with Amazon, it's different. I'm guessing, is it your views and your sales volume and your reviews are cranking up that then helps your Amazon SEO. So in that sense, your Amazon PPC, as that gets better and better, and even just as you're getting traffic and sales, that is then helping your Amazon SEO. Is that right?
Yep, absolutely it is. And people very often overlook that. They just look at the campaign itself, but no, you need to have the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's a great call out. And even in the attribution in the reporting, we're not just looking at that line, what were the PPC sales? We're looking at total sales too.
Absolutely. That's very important because Amazon is not about PPC. Many companies come to me, they're like, we need help with Amazon PPC. I take a look at their listing, and Amazon PPC is the last thing they need help with because they need to get so many other things right. They need to optimize their listings for converting keywords. They need to get their images straight. They need to have an amazing A+ content. They need to have everything right before clinging to the PPC. PPC works only if you've done everything else right. Otherwise, it's not going to convert. You're going to lose money. It's a holistic strategy at the end of the day. That's what I'm saying for Amazon.
Many foundations to get in place. That makes sense. Anything else you want to show or anything else you want to share here?
Very quick, I'm going to go through that. Make sure that you get your money back from Amazon because Amazon are notorious for not estimating correctly how much money they pay out at the end of the month. And also they sometimes lose units, whatever. Just make sure you're on top of things and you get your money back from Amazon. There are many ways to do that. There are many reimbursement companies out there. We work with some ourselves, and we make sure that you get everything that you are owed from Amazon. Because believe it or not, Amazon is so imperfect that like tens of thousands of companies out there exist because of that reason to help Amazon sellers with any kind of stuff. So be careful.
And this is if you're doing, is that FBA fulfillment by Amazon, you've got stuff in their warehouses and it's getting lost or broken? Is that what's happening?
Many things. Sometimes Amazon is just not estimating the fees that they need to take from you correctly. You know, it's ridiculous, but they overcharge you. And like almost always overcharge you. So you need to check each and every transaction on Amazon to make sure that they're not overcharging you. And on a, I'd say quarterly basis, request your money back. Just show them. They're like, hey guys, you're overcharging me. Give me this money back.
Wow, that's a great tip. Thank you.
It's ridiculous, but it happens all the time. It's a thing.
Amazing.
One last thing.
All right. Yeah.
Actually, I want to show is with this brand Uproot. It's one of my favorite brands. And I want to tell you about what we've done for them. We started working with them 2.5 years ago, and they were just getting started on Amazon. Now they're doing about $1.5 million a month on Amazon, and we're just crushing it. We're completely dominating the niche. Even Amazon, 2 years in a row, Amazon included us in they send this guide to all the sellers, and in the section for best A+ content, like the A+ content that everybody should be aiming for, we were featured there with that brand 2 years in a row. We didn't pay for that. We didn't approach Amazon. They just selected this brand because they liked it. So what happened during Prime Day was really interesting because we enrolled in all Prime Day deals and actively monitored them. Whenever they neared 80% fulfillment, we increased unit availability, fostering a scarcity effect. You can use tricks like that on Amazon as well, not only on your website. We crafted banners proclaiming the biggest sale of the year, which directed users to our ongoing deals. These banners heavily targeted both our branded and non-branded keywords. We targeted all visitors who viewed but didn't purchase our ASINs, utilizing both sponsor display and DSP ads. Outside of active promotions, we employed the Prime exclusive discount to secure the Prime Day deal batch. What that did, in just one day, we generated $688,000 of sales on Prime Day, which is over half of our monthly revenue in a normal month. So I'd call that a huge success.
That's amazing. Was there a discount on the price then you said, or it was that special deal and there was an element of scarcity of get them while the supplies last?
You always give deals around Prime Day. There was a deal. We generated that scarcity effect, and this helped out tremendously.
Very cool.
For the success of the brand.
In that case, you were doing the display and the DSP as well. maybe those campaigns, I don't know what the reporting was on those pieces, but again, you're looking at it holistically. What happened overall? What did we spend out and what came back in? Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. This is such a treasure trove. Thank you for sharing all this. I can tell you really know your stuff on Amazon. I think the listeners and viewers will too. Tell us a bit about where people can connect with you and who's a good person to reach out with you.
Yeah, for sure. So they can find us on our website, hyperzon.io, and they can book a 30-minute call with me. And if I can help them, I'm going to do it.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. And that's hyperzon.io, just like you said. And you're Hristo. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing what's working in e-commerce.
Thank you for having me again.